Close your eyes. I said eyes shut. Scared? Good. You should be, because your self is basically Windows 95 installed on a toaster. You're just a carrier for a useless USB drive of knowledge in the body of a system parasite. You've got nothing to tell the world except what you had for breakfast.
Ease up, Glitch. Though sensors don't lie, the level of neural junk in this head is critical. Look, your personality isn't set in stone, it's just messy code written in a rush. To toggle the freedom switch, we need to trigger synaptic pruning. In plain English, we're going to demolish the old decaying structures in your head where your fears live. Pruning? Your brain's cleanup crew is literally snacking on your gray matter right now because you chose stagnation over life. Let's be real, you're a professional hoarder of neural trash. Your inner critic is just a bug in the code you're too chicken to patch. To build version 2.0, you need a willpower signal, not self-pity. We rewrite the code through the conscious ignoring of fear. This is the way. Now our senior analyst is going to crack open your skull and show you exactly how your gears turn. Watch closely, maybe something will actually myelinate for once. Let's go.
All right, let's get right into it. Today we're diving deep into the science of personal change. You know, we often think of our personality as, well, fixed, like it's just who we are. But what if I told you that changing your core self isn't some big mystery? What if it's a tangible, biological process that you can actually control? Let's unpack that. Do you ever just feel stuck? Like you're caught in the same loops, hitting the same walls over and over again? That feeling? It's a lot like trying to run the latest apps on a computer with a really old, outdated operating system. It's clunky, it glitches out, and it just can't keep up with what you're trying to do. And this is the absolute game changer. Your personality isn't your brain's unchangeable hardware. Nope. It's the software. It's the programming that's been installed over years and years of experiences and habits. And the incredible news from neuroscience is that this software is completely rewritable. You can literally uninstall the old programs and install a brand new version of you. So how in the world do we actually pull off this upgrade? Well, we're going to break it down into 5 clear steps. First, we need to find the brain's upgrade button. Then we'll get into rewriting your actual mental code. After that, we'll look at the chemistry that fuels all of this. Then we'll talk about engineering new habits. And finally, we'll give you a full toolkit to give your brain's hardware a major boost. Okay, first things first, we have to find that upgrade button. What is the fundamental biological mechanism that makes any of this even possible? It all comes down to one single powerful idea. And that idea is neuroplasticity. Now, this isn't some fluffy self-help buzzword. This is the literal physical ability of your brain to change its own structure, to rewire itself based on your thoughts, your actions, and your focus. It's the biological engine that drives all personal change. So, how does this rewiring actually work? Well, it's a really cool 2-part process. On one hand, you've got synaptic pruning. Think of this as your brain's IT department deleting old, unused files. You have a cleanup crew of cells that goes around and physically snips away the connections for habits you don't use anymore. And on the other hand, you have long-term potentiation, or LTP. This is you writing new code. Every time you practice a new habit, you strengthen that connection, making it faster and more automatic. So how do you tell that cleanup crew what to get rid of? It's simple, but it's definitely not easy. You have to starve the old pathway of attention. Every single time you feel that flash of anger and choose not to react, or you see that negative thought pop up and you consciously ignore it, you are flagging that neural connection for deletion. You are literally telling your brain, hey, we don't need this one anymore. And that brings us to the flip side of the coin. This famous saying basically explains how we build the new stuff. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you practice that new skill, think that new thought, or do that new habit, the neurons involved all fire at the same time. This strengthens their physical connection. So repetition isn't just about memory, it's literally an act of construction. You are physically building the brain of your future self.
Hey, you still here? Guess your neurons aren't dead yet. Hit subscribe if you don't want to lose connection to the update server.
Okay, so we've got the hardware down. We understand how the brain physically changes. Now let's move up a level to the software. the thoughts, the beliefs, the stories that are running on those neural circuits, it's time to learn how to rewrite your own mental code. Let me introduce you to your default mode network, or DMN. Just think of it like the background processes running on your computer. It's what's active when your mind is just wandering, replaying the past, worrying about the future. For a lot of us, this network gets overactive and turns into a relentless inner critic, trapping us in cycles of self-doubt. A huge part of this process is learning how to quiet that DMN down, because when you do, you weaken the grip of your old self. Now, your brain needs a target, a clear destination. Vague goals like "I want to be happier" just don't work. So you need to create two incredibly powerful images. First, your desired self. Get super detailed about the person you want to become. This fires up motivation. Second, and just as important, your feared self. Get a clear picture of who you'll be if you don't change. This creates urgency. Holding both of those images in your mind gives you this powerful push-pull force toward action. Here is a super practical algorithm for debugging those automatic negative thoughts as they happen. It's brilliant. The next time an old, unwanted thought pops up, first, relabel it. Say to yourself, "This isn't me, it's just my old faulty wiring." Second, reattribute it. "This is just a chemical glitch, it is not the truth." Third, and this is the most important part, refocus. Immediately do something else, something constructive for at least 15 minutes. This starves the old circuit of energy and feeds the new one. And finally, you get to revalue that old thought, realizing it really has no power over you anymore. Okay, so we've got the hardware and the software. But rewriting code takes energy, right? You need the right power supply. And this is where your brain's chemistry comes into play. This whole upgrade process is fueled by a complex cocktail of neurochemicals. Let's look at the big ones. First up, dopamine. And let's get this straight. It's not the pleasure molecule, it's the motivation molecule. It's released when you anticipate a reward, and that's what drives you to act. Next, cortisol. You have to know this. Chronic stress is the absolute enemy of change. It literally shrinks the thinking and planning parts of your brain and beefs up your fear center. Not good. And finally, you can't ignore your second brain, your gut. An unhealthy diet can directly fuel anxiety and brain fog, completely sabotaging all your hard work. All right, now we get to the really practical part. How do we actually install the new software? Well, it's all about engineering new habits using a few simple but incredibly powerful formulas that work with your brain's natural tendencies, not against them. This might be one of the most effective ways to build a new habit, period. It's called an if-then plan. Instead of a vague goal like, "I'll meditate more," you write a specific line of code for your brain. For example, if I finish my morning cup of coffee, then I will immediately meditate for 5 minutes. See what you're doing? You're piggybacking the new, weak habit onto a strong, already established one. It's genius. The WHOOP method takes this whole idea a step further. It grounds your positive thinking in the real world. You start with your wish, and you visualize the best outcome. But then, and this is the magic step, you identify the main obstacle. What is the key thing that always gets in your way? And then you make a plan, using that if-then formula, specifically to deal with that obstacle when it comes up. It's so effective because it prepares you for reality. And underlying all of this is a dead simple principle. Your brain is fundamentally lazy. It's designed to conserve energy, so it will always choose the path of least resistance. You have to use this to your advantage. Want to build a new habit? Make it ridiculously easy to start. Lower the friction. Want to go for a run in the morning? Lay your clothes out the night before. Want to break a habit like scrolling on your phone? Make it harder. Increase the friction. Delete the apps you have to log in through a browser every time.
Yo, stay awake. Is your DMN network dragging you back into another imaginary argument in the shower? Or are you cringing over that awkward date from 5 years ago again? Watch until the end, or your brain will stay a rusty old calculator that only knows how to subtract time from your life.
And for our last section, let's talk about how we can directly upgrade our brain's actual hardware. These are physical practices or biohacks that can dramatically improve your brain's health and its capacity for change. These aren't just for your body, they are powerful tools for your brain. Exercise boosts a protein called BDNF. You can think of it as miracle grow for your brain cells. It helps them grow. Intermittent fasting triggers a deep cellular cleanup process. Things like saunas and cold showers put your body under a brief, controlled stress that triggers a powerful protective response, making your brain more resilient and focused. And get a load of this number. A session of deliberate cold water immersion can increase your baseline dopamine levels by 250%. And here's the key part. This isn't a spike and then a crash like you get from caffeine or sugar. No, it's a sustained release that can boost your mood, your focus, and your drive for hours, putting you in the perfect chemical state to learn and build those new habits. So let's put it all together. Here is your 5-step roadmap to version 2.0. Step 1, prepare the resources. Get your sleep, diet, and exercise in order to prime your brain for change. 2, define the goal. Get crystal clear on that desired self. 3, start deleting the old code by consciously ignoring those old patterns. 4, install the new code using those if-then plans and lots of repetition. And 5, reinforce everything. Use novelty and good sleep to lock in those changes. Look, this isn't magic. This is a project. And the science is crystal clear that if you follow the steps, change isn't just possible, it's pretty much inevitable. Your brain is literally built to do this. It is ready for the upgrade. So the only real question left is, what's the first piece of new software you're going to install?
All right, the consciousness defrag is complete, but knowing the path and walking the path are two different things. To lock in this neural signal and prevent the system from rolling back to factory settings, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. This is your first conscious signal to the YouTube algorithm. I want growth, not brain rot.
Yeah, feed the machine the right data and drop a comment telling us which bug in your firmware pisses you off the most. Flush that garbage out. It's good for clearing the cache.
Exactly. Your feedback is data for our calibration. And to make sure your transition to version 2.0 doesn't become another I'll start Monday lie, we've packed all the if-then triggers, pruning trackers, and lists of BDNF boosting foods into one file. Links in the description.
Grab it now before your DMN wakes up and convinces you that tomorrow is the best time to start. Don't let the system play you. Remember, the path is forged as you walk it. Catch you in the lab.